race number 5 is again from the 1200 metre start, so we're playing in that shoot space once again. We've got 2 horses here at the top of betting that are both drifting. In fact, the top 3 in betting are all getting out. So Netanyahu and also Huguenot, they're both resuming, and there's no love for either of those horses. 340 and out to 420 and 340 out to 480. Miramai Express is solid enough at that $4.60, but then you get down to Morning Melody and also Electric Bell. These are definitely the 2 horses that have been backed to beat those right at the top of betting there. You can see Morning Melody $9.50 into $5.50 since earlier today, and Electric Bell, similar scene, $7.50 into $6 and might hit $5.50 in just a moment's time. So a really interesting race here, an open race. I wonder what will happen in the next 10 minutes in terms of the betting.
This mounting yard is brought to you by the Racing.com app. Download for free today.
As Grace mentioned, this is a 1200 metre start from the shooter, benchmark 64. We scratch the one. We're on to horse number 2, Omanika, for Chris Calthorpe, and Lockie King has had a couple of runs in this campaign and drawn the outside gate.
The way we've seen the track play so far, I think if you like her, you could potentially elevate as well, because he's here third up after hitting the line well behind Hypothetical, who's a handy horse at Geelong last start, but he's handled wet ground in the past. He's fitter third up, and he maps to get to that middle part of the track.
Well, before we get to Omanika, that was a great interview with Brett Abdullah. I'm glad he clarified that he's got a place in Docklands. I thought he was doing that interview from his super yacht there. I thought he was going so well that he was there in his private yacht. I'm glad he's got his own place in Docklands. And Omanika won't lack anything in fitness. I know third up, as Dave said, but a real lean, athletic style of galloper, hardly any excess at all. So won't lack anything in fitness here third up.
Horse number 4 is Huguenot for Greg Urell, and Jamie Mott is first up into the campaign.
Here off 197 days, had the 2 Cranbourne jump outs, won the lead-in heat over 800 metres on a heavy 9 track, covered a stack of ground, was stoked up and closed off well, and that was without his race day blinkers, which are on today. He's generally a horse that has improved deeper into a preparation, but on the strength of that trial, I think he can run well first up.
Totally different style of horse to Omanika, very more compact and robust, and carrying that little bit of condition, but that's not unusual for him even deep enough into a preparation. He has got some muscle definition and looks like he's done enough work to be competitive first up.
Netanyahu is the next horse that we take a look at for Leon and Troy Corson's. Jordan Charles takes the rides. He's first up into the campaign after a pretty busy time of it last preparation.
Had 2 Flemington jump outs, won a synthetic jump out, and then hunted the inside and closed well behind Vivian, who's a speedy galloper and was having a mid-prep jump out. So the work at the jump outs was good leading in. He can just get a little bit keen, so from a low draw, if they slow up in the middle stages, don't surprise to see him yanking and pulling, but he's a horse that has talent.
Carries a bit of headgear and wears the pre-race earmuffs. He's not showing any sign of that keenness in the parade ring, Dave. He's stepping out really well. He's flowing around the mounting yard. Again, he's probably got some improvement to come from a fitness point of view, but looks well conditioned and love the way he's striding out.
Another one of our starters this evening is Electric Bell, who is first up into the campaign. Alex Ray takes the reins, I should say, and Ethan Brown takes the ride, drawn the inside gate.
Her best form would win this race. You have to go back to mid-2021, but she's got a massive turn of foot, and she evidenced that one day winning from downtown at Sandown. Now, here first up, I would have loved to see a little bit more in her jump outs, and the fact that she gets right back, I don't think barrier 1 is a positive.
She looks like she's got some improvement to come. She's moving around the mounting yard with a bit of intent, and she does get a bit playful in the mounting yard. I've seen that from her previously, but from a fitness point of view, it looks like there is some improvement to come.
Moving on to horse number 10. Unfortunately, we scratched Invincible Caviar. I was looking forward to seeing how this mare was progressing through her campaign, but Morning Melody is the next horse that we have a look at for Jake Noonan and Nick Harnett.
She's hard fit. She maps well from barrier 4 for Jake Noonan. The margin was unfair. She was actually slow away on the Pakenham synthetic last start, which is something that doesn't often happen for her. She can usually take a position right up on speed. She's fit for recent racing. I don't think she wants the track too wet. Her better performances have come on top of the ground, but a horse that has a level of talent good enough to feature in a race of this nature.
bright and alert, really fit, as you mentioned, Dave. Her coat looks great, so I don't think Nick Harnett could present her in any better condition than she is tonight.
Muramari Express is the next horse that we have a look at, a mare, or a gelding, I should say, by Sham Express. Daniel Moore takes the ride. Danny O'Brien trains, has had 3 runs in this campaign, and the best she has gone was a second at Sale.
She hasn't won since start 2, and she's often been hard in the market, so costly for punters. But what she keeps putting up is quite good figures that continually see her hard in the market. She didn't quite see out the 1,400 metres at Cranbourne last start, so I think dropping in distance does suit today, and one that's handled heavy tracks in the past.
Really strong galloper, neat, compact, up on his toes, a touch in the manning yard. That's not unusual for him. I thought it was a good, quite typical parade from him.
EJ Saddles up, Bombastic Boy, Logan McNeil takes a ride.
He was well beaten at start 2 by Grand Impact, who we know is a very classy galloper, in what was a hot form race, and then he went to Echuca, found the best part of the track and finished too well. Tipped out since that 98 days ago, and had the one jump out in late October where he closed off really well between runners over 800 metres at Cranbourne. This is harder again. He's a horse that I think you can follow into the preparation.
He's nice and fresh in the mounting yard, as you'd expect, with that gap between runs, carrying the red earmuffs to keep him as composed as possible, but he did look well conditioned for his first up run without being fully wound up.
Dave, you were right on the money with your on-top selection for the last race. What do you make of this field?
I've got Huguenot on top. He might need the run, but I just love the jump outs without the blinkers. Netanyahu's been jumping out well. Muramai Express is well suited back in distance, and if I was to redo my numbers now, I'd actually have something on Omanika as well as Huguenot, because I think he gets to the best part of the track.
So Huguenot, the on-top selection for Dave, and Netanyahu is the on-top selection for Adamo. What did you make of this field, Was?
Numbers 10 and 5, Lizzie, stood out to me. I know that the wet track might be some query, but I don't think Nick Harnett could have produced Morning Melody, number 10, in any better order. So I've made her the pick of the yard, but I did like the way that number 5, Netanyahu, who was stepping out the mounting yard. Probably some improvement to come fitness-wise, but looked like he'd done enough work and thought he was ready to run well first up. Pick of them, hard and fit, number 10, Morning Melody.
Well, there's been plenty of movement in this market since I last spoke to you. We've now got a new favourite, and it is Muramai Express into $4, and that may not last. He is really trimming up at the moment, dropping back to the 1,200 metres. Does look suitable. In fact, I think you'll see him tick into $3.80 just now. Huguenot on the second line of betting, touched $5, back into $4.80, and Netanyahu is the other one that's been a significant drifter, $3.40 out to $5.50. Everything else is sort of holding their price at the top there, but really it is Muramai Express that's quite firm in the last 5 minutes, I would expect. Now, don't forget tomorrow, we've already spoken a lot about Champions Stakes Day at Flemington, but we've also got the 5 Diamonds at Rose Hill. All races with Sportsbet. If you run second or third or fourth or fifth, you get up to $50 back in bonus bets with Sportsbet.
This is race number 5 at Pakenham. We're 3 minutes out, and one of the key chances, although as we heard from Grace, he's been a bit of a drifter, that is Netanyahu, this 5-year-old son of Alamosa, who's 2 wins and 7 placings from the 13 starts, trained by Team Corstons. And as we head back out on track, Will Larkins representing the team alongside Warren Hutley.
Well, Will, how's Netanyahu prepped up for this campaign?
Yeah, he's prepped up really nicely. His 2 jump outs have been encouraging this time around, so happy with leading him to that.
How would you like the race to shape up for him here?
He's drawn low, so he gets the opportunity to just bounce out. Hopefully a few jump out in front of him, give him a bit of cover, and he'll be finishing off.
It took a while to get that win on the board since arriving from New Zealand, with a bit of a boom on him. Has he settled in more to your training regime, do you think, with that more time over here in Australia?
Yeah, he hasn't come over the easiest horse. He's got his tricks, and he did a lot wrong, but it looks like the way he's come back this time round, those horses that come from other parts of the world really take that one prep to get to their best, and it looks like he's on the way there.
In particular, I want to touch on the astrologist. He's right in the deep end with the big boys, but he's raced with the big boys before. How is he going into the Daily Sprint tomorrow?
Yeah, look, he's been against the big boys for a long time now, and he deserves his place there. He's never disgraced. He'll try his best. Obviously, we go in there as young dogs with a really strong field. It's an absolute cracking race. So, look, he'll be there to, try his best to try get into the placings.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Will Larkin there representing the Leon and Troy Corstons stable. Jordan Childs riding Netanyahu tonight. This 5-year-old son of Alamos. The horses behind the gates here at the halfway point of the meeting. Guys, how are we seeing it so far? Are we, could we lift, I reckon? Could we try and, get a bit more, not energy, but some more winners to lift the mood in the studio?
I don't know what you're saying,
Table's
mate.
quite
Yeah.
energetic.
Yeah.
Developing a bit of
No, I'm talking about the results. Like, I'd love a couple of winners to
I think
really...
Warren.
That's on me.
Warren's. I think that might have been directed at me, guys.
Oh, we're still yet to fire when it comes to our team multis this night racing season, and that's not just your fault, Lizzie.
Oh, Potato Pete.
Yeah, I've dropped off Potato Pete. Anyway, minute out. Grace, any sort of final insights from the market here? They charging into any late?
Yeah, they're charging into Murray Express now into $3.50, having touched $3.30 not too long ago. In fact, I think he's going to start closer to $3, this horse. Really, really good push in the last couple of minutes.
And in terms of a speed map, Dave, what are we thinking in terms of how this race might pan out? Is there a couple that you sort of, based on their form, they're going to go forward and make play?
It looks pretty straightforward. Murray Express is going to roll forward. Morning Melody has some good speed. Netanyahu will kick up from the low barrier and probably hold leaders back. Huguenot probably one out, one back. Omanika goes back and smokes the pipe as well.
All right, race number 5. Let's head trackside to Adamo.
Program. So they're slowly coming up. So the last of 4 1,200-metre races with no chutes in that, no lights in that chute. Getting the short course races out of the way before it gets too dark. So far, the 3 winners have come down a very similar path down the centre of the track, all from the back half of the fields. First 2 1,200-metre winners came from near last, and the previous from just a touch worse than midfield. Starters on the ladder. Murray Express is about to walk up, and Omanika will be one of the last. There's the light. And we're getting close for the Druin and District Community Bank benchmark 64. Now an attendant's going to the front of the stall, or the starter in fact, off his ladder. So the horse in the inside gate might have been problematic there. Electric Bell. And was fractious and is being vetted. Number 8, Electric Bell. First up since Good Friday, where it ran well at Sale. And now the starter surveying the scene behind the gates, coming back to the ladder. Ethan Brown still off the mare. Now starters on the ladder. Light continues to flash on the stalls, and there's Electric Bell being trotted up quickly behind the gates and the remainder of that 1,200-metre chute. The vet having a look, all others ready to go, and the starter, not to dilly-dally, is there ready, and Electric Bell has been pass fit, so Ethan's about to get back on board, and she'll take her place in this field as an $8.50 chance. Ethan's still walking around behind the line. Now he's being legged up. Some of the others have been standing there some time now. So about to complete the first half of this 10-race program with the last of the short course races from the chute. And they're all in again. Ready. Gates quickly open. They're off. Huguenot began well. Murray Express, Morning Melody also. A line of 3. Omanika easing from the wide gate in behind Netanyahu. And then comes Bombastic Boy and back last Electric Bell on the fence. But it is leading Huguenot. Huguenot for Jamie Mott looking for a double. 1 length on Morning Melody. Murray Express is 3rd. Then comes Netanyahu improving back on the running rail. 4th, Bombastic Boy. And then Omanika, who's deeper on the course, 2nd last. And a length and a half Electric Bell. Huguenot and uncontested pilot. 600 left to go. About to corner. Morning Melody getting closer. Muramai Express comes out 3 wide. Plenty of room for Netanyahu on the fence. Bombastic Boy Omanika and Electric Bell, one of the last in a compact field, linking up to the course proper. Huguenot, Morning Melody, and now Netanyahu sprinting to their inside from Marami Express deeper. Bombastic Boy switching off heels, and then comes Omanika and Electric Bell. They're fanning across the track as they come down to the 200 metres. Morning Melody, Netanyahu prominent. Muramai Express deeper. Electric Bell trying to sprint down the inside, and then comes Omanika late across the track. Electric Bell, Netanyahu, Morning Melody, Netanyahu. Netanyahu got there by a head on Electric Bell and Morning Melody. And a great three-way finish. They got away from Bombastic Boy, Marami Express, Omanika and Huguenots finished last.
They were spread right across the track. Who was going to put their hand up or their hoof up? It was Netanyahu, the 5-year-old son of Alamosa under Jordan Childs. Pokes his head out and wins race number 5 for Team Corstons. Morning Melody loomed as a winning chance. Electric Bell back towards the inside, tried to poke her head up, and Marami Express. But ultimately, Netanyahu, too good. 5, 10, 8, 13 numbers over the line.
Well, you're asking who was going to put their hoof up. At about the 150, they were all putting their hoofs down because no one really presented like they wanted to win the race. And Netanyahu, after getting a really nice running transit on the back of the speed, was able to outgun Morning Melody, who did have a run under the belt. So a good performance first up. And Electric Bell produced a really good finish towards the inside, which is something we haven't seen from back in the field much at all today. And interesting to note that Jamie Mott, leading on Huguenot, didn't want to get anywhere near the fence, was able to lead and stroll along at his own tempo, and a horse that would be better for the run, but that you can see on the head-on there, they don't really want to get back towards the inside, so a bit of merit added to the runs of the likes of Electric Bell and Bombastic Boy, who was good first up in grade, but Netanyahu was able to get to that better part of the track and stick his head out on the line in time.
And Geordie Childs joins the party tonight with a winner, another jockey that's been riding in super form and making the most of his opportunities. This galloper now takes his record to 3 wins and 7 placings from 14 career starts. So consistent, lightly raced 5-year-old, still sort of progressing through the ranks and breaks through at the start of his campaign. So, Warren, potentially, as we head back to you on track, this horse is in for a pretty good campaign.
You'd like to think so, JT. Let's find out more from Will. How did that meet your expectations?
Yeah, it was really good. You know, he's never really had cover like we wanted. They all look to stay off the fence, and sometimes can be tough when horses just have that open space and a lot to look through the pack and, you know, have those horses on the outside and fight through. So he's done a good job first up on a heavy track, so looks in for a good campaign.
Range of facilities available to Leon and Troy. Where does this fella spend most of his time?
Yeah, he spends most of his time down at Flemington. Yeah, he's always done a good job down there, but yeah, we're blessed with a lot of different locations to be able to spin him around when they need a bit of a change, but he seems to be taking it well down at Flemington, so we'll leave him there.
Obviously, he's handled the ground here today, and rain-affected ground doesn't see a problem for him, but he could well be as effective on top of the ground. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, it was a question mark coming in because he was a winner on the heavy track in New Zealand, but the one heavy track race he had here at Warrnambool, he really failed and ran last. So we were coming in with the query. He's ticked it, but I reckon he'd be better on top of the ground.
Onwards and upwards from here, and some excited connections here waiting for Geordie to come back. Well done.
Thank you.
Geordie Childs just taking the saddle off. We'll try and lasso him before he does get commandeered by the connections. And Geordie comes over to tell us, first of all, but some excited connections waiting, so we won't hold you too long. Geordie, how did that feel?
Yeah, it was good. Obviously, first up for the stable, they've done a good job to have it fit and ready here today.
Seemed to be an intent for most of the riders to get away from the inside halfway through the card. How's the track holding up?
I think it's holding up pretty good. I had a walk of it, and I think it's racing pretty even. I think just the way the race has been run, they've been coming down the outside, but no, I wasn't afraid to go back to the inner. It feels even to me.
How did this fella handle it?
Yeah, he handled it well. Obviously, there was a question mark on the wet track. He hasn't handled it before, but he got through it good today.
Let you weigh in and then get ready for the photo on the mounting yard.
That's it, thank you.
And as we can hear, plenty of happy owners from Regal Bloodstock there in the winner's stall, and pretty happy with Geordie Childs' work. And Dave, he was, you know, one of the jockeys or horses that was closest to the inside as this race was being run.
Yeah, and as noted in the post-race interview, he wasn't able to get that cover that they desired, but the fact that he's often, when he gets onto heels in the past, has often got keen and yanking, maybe that actually wasn't to his detriment, the fact that he could have clear area in front of him and have his own galloping room and be in his own little safe space, if I will, and he was able to let down up the inside and win the race in what was a bunch finish. There was a few performances of merit back towards the inside. Electric Bell off the back of some jump outs that were leaving a little bit to be desired, says that she can come back and win a race this preparation. I thought Bombastic Boy, he just peaked on the run up in grade, but it wasn't a bad run towards the inside. But Netanyahu, a good effort and good selection of races from the stable. They smashed a horse by the name of Brave Star, who goes around either on Monday at Moe or next Wednesday at Bendigo. I thought was jumping out really well, but scratched him in this race in favour of Netanyahu and was able to get a really lovely run off the back of the speed and win what was a very bunch finish.
As you said, he found his safe space. My safe space is here with you guys on a Friday night, so pretty happy to be here.
Oh, yeah, so am I.
5 races down. We're halfway through this marathon card. 10 races.